This is one where we go from Uptown to 50th in France with the current day photos and then the historic photos that you can compare side by side. Uh, so I did this with Linden Hills History Study Group, but thought might as well get it up online on our website. Plus, the Nicollet Avenue one that I did for them and did for us, it gets a whole lot more views on our website than it gets on their website. And so anyway, we start in Uptown, and there's the Uptown Theater and the library and everything as it is today. And here's the same movie theater before they turned it into the Uptown Theater. It was the Lagoon. And here you can see the St. Louis Park line uh, turning off to go down Lagoon all the way, well, out to St. Louis Park. And here's another view later. And what you notice here is that Lagoon Avenue wasn't cut through. I don't know when they did it, but at the time it was not cut through on the east.
And it looks like maybe in the picture is the St. Louis Park line gone, or can I not see the tracks?
Well, it's what this is. The tracks are gone, but there's brickwork that followed the tracks, so you can
Okay.
see where it was. Okay, now we're down at Lake and Hennepin, looking north. The old Rainbow Cafe building, and here's what it looked like at the time. And of course, you got the Selby Lake line going off to the right. Then you move south a block to 31st. And here's what it looked like. And the World Theater, Suburban World Theater, has been returned to its original name, the Alhambra. And then this is the Majors and Quinn bookstore, which was a Dodge dealership, Dodge and Plymouth. So now you're looking west on 31st Street. And here's what that looked like. And then you come to the corner of 31st and Irving, and this is where it turned and went into the right of way. And this curb line used to be cut back because of the track, and then later they rebuilt the intersection and they moved it. There's also a building back here, a commercial building that was angled on the corner because of the track. And so you see this house, this addition is built on the right of way. So here's what it looked like. So now you're at 34th Street and you're looking north up the alley. And there were there was the streetcar right of way, and then there was an alley next to it. Now, this on the left was the original automobile alley. And when the streetcar quit, they abandoned the automobile alley and moved the alley to the streetcar right of way. And so when you go down here on the left side, garages that are like post 1954 come all the way out to this alley, and the old garages are set back because of the old alley. And so here's the exact same view. And here's the fence that I like to talk about, that is the one that's held up with narrow gauge motor line rail and overhead wire poles, and it's still there. Oh, okay, I threw in a motor line picture here. More motor line. I should have pulled these out. So anyway, here we are by the fence, and you're looking south towards 34th Street. And here you can see these are older garages that are set back by the alley. And here's one of the overhead wire poles cut off. And here's one of the 35-pound motor line rails holding the thing up. Okay, so now you're looking west on 34th Street, and the right-of-way is crossing right here. And there goes the PCC car on the right-of-way, with, of course, Lake Calhoun off in the distance. And I actually wound up talking to the people in this who own this house and gave them a copy of this photo. Okay, so now you're at 34th, you're looking south along the right-of-way. This is the house that was in the previous picture between the right-of-way and the lake. And here it is again. And then these are the stairs that come down at roughly 35th Street. It's called Como-Harriet Way. I don't know what it was called before, but there was a streetcar stop here. And so this was all rebuilt by the city. And here you see those steps coming down to the platform at about 35th.
So do they maintain those steps today?
Oh, yeah.
Wonder why they do that.
Well, this portion of the right-of-way is a walking path now.
Okay.
But no, they never got rid of that. And I don't really know why. And here's one of the cross ties that's still there with spikes coming out of it. And so you get down to 36th, and there's this drop off here, but it used to go across. And this is quite early. Here you see the Lakewood Cemetery Station and the scalloped hedge that used to be along, and the horse watering trough that was here. And originally the steps went up the south side, and later on they removed these steps and put them up the north side. So
Hey, Aaron,
yeah,
what year would you guess that picture is from? Like,
I'm going to say about 1905, something like that.
okay.
Not exactly sure.
Aaron,
Yeah.
do you know what? Do you know when that bridge was actually removed?
Yeah, it was removed in '54 when they abandoned the streetcars.
Okay.
And what happened was about, I don't know, 4 months before they were going to abandon it, a truck hit it, and they had to come out and repair it. And I actually have a picture somewhere, maybe I have it on this one, of them repairing the thing. I guess not. Okay, so here, of course, you're looking up 36th Street. And this was the last day trip with 1775 and 1300 at that same location. And here you are looking down the hill. And here you can see the stairway. Somebody got something?
I was just saying 11-foot clearance. Yeah, there are not many trucks that get through that.
No, that's true. Yeah, you actually might not, I don't think you can even get a city bus under there. And at the time, they were not running a city bus under there. So here, this is the sightseer car. And the went made 2 trips a day. And so it had gone down to Lake Harriet and turned around, and now it's coming back. And here you see the Lakewood Cemetery Station. So of course, here's our track with the gate open. Must have been 4th Memorial Day or something. And here we are with the cemetery stop. Amazingly, I've only got like 3 or 4 pictures of this. You would think that they would show up more often, but it doesn't. And here is when it was first opened in like 1891. And this is one of the former motor line open trailers that was motorized and turned into a streetcar. Okay, so here we are looking off the Berry Road Bridge going north. And of course, the streetcar went straight, but the cemetery took it over, which is why we curve. So here's what it looked like, same vantage point. And then here, periodically, you would see these danger, private right-of-way, no trespassing signs. And the crew found one of these behind the car barn. We have one. And so at some point, we'll have to go and display that.
Do we have any maps? Do we have any maps that overlay like what you just said, where here's the original track and here's ours, to see the difference of our track versus original?
Sort of. The
Okay.
Hennepin County right-of-way map shows it.
Okay.
Or if you get the aerial photo with the right-of-way lines superimposed on it. Having said that, I don't think I have really a copy that I could show you.
Okay.
So of course, here we are. And this was an opportunity to show the 2 versions. The original where the right-of-way was up higher. And you'll notice that the knee walls do not exist. And that's what they did is they lowered the right-of-way when they built the double-decker streetcars, and they had to bring the streetcar boats out through here. And so to do that, they went and put this knee wall in. There you go, put the knee wall in, and then added the additional flight of steps at a 90-degree angle on each side. Now, when if we go back to the way we have it, you'll notice that the right-of-way, this wall, it's sort of halfway. This was deeper before, and the reason that it got filled in was because they used to have the pipe that took the water from Lake Calhoun to Lake Harriet, and it came right up under here, and it actually, they had to actually pump it over the hill, and then they replaced it with the deep tunnel that allows a gravity flow. But nonetheless, this is still at that kind of intermediate height compared to what it used to be. So here we are looking off the south side of the bridge. And that's pretty much the same, except they had this little fence in between. So here's the pedestrian underpass. Well, you know, it keeps flipping back on me. Here's the pedestrian underpass. One of the things I want to do, either have us or the city do it, when they put these, when they repaired all of this, when they rebuilt the line in '05, they painted these brown. These need to be painted a proper dark green. And as you can see, they're due for a painting. The other thing that they did is the lawyers insisted in putting this mesh in the middle here as a safety thing. That was not original.
We could paint that black when we repaint the green. It'll try to make it disappear a little better.
We could. And so, of course, here is the view with the second pavilion. And this was back when the line was down at the parkway level, before it was moved up.
And this picture shows the original road around Lake Harriet, which is still in use today. That road is
right here. Yeah, the road went all the way around.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the same pavement. That's how bad it is. I'm making a joke.
Aaron,
Aaron, could you go back to that last picture of the pedestrian underpass?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of quick stories about that. I think everybody knows that I was intimately involved in the reconstruction of the line. When they tore out the old TCRT concrete, for some reason somebody decided that because it was 100 years old, it had to be replaced. And I recall, and maybe Keith Anderson told me about it, because he was obviously involved in the engineering, was that there was no reason to replace that old pedestrian underpass. It was perfectly okay. Once they tore it apart and realized that it was pretty substantial. The second thing is, when they tore the old one out, you could see the terracotta conduit that was a foot, I guess a foot or so below the level of the ground, where the feeder cables went out to the substation just on the other side of Uptown in Linden Hills. I wish I had taken a photo of those of that exposing those conduit, but for some reason I didn't.
Yeah, the thing that they did do in redoing this concrete, especially on the other side, a lot of it had separated, and they kind of had to put it back where they were. I don't know if I've got pictures of that.
So if they redid that underpass, why did they even leave it? And doesn't really serve any purpose anymore.
Well, actually, it gets used a lot. You go down there, and it keeps everyone from walking across the tracks. Plus, it's historic.
It's there, but if it wasn't there, they just. I'm just curious why they. So they completely tore out the old underpass and built a new
No,
one?
no. All they did was replace the bridge,
Oh,
and
all right.
then they went and put the concrete back where it was supposed to. They put a new skin on the concrete, and on the other sides, some of this stuff had separated. You know, it was leaning, and they jacked it and put it back where it was supposed to be. And the railings are original. All they did was kind of rehab that.
Okay.
And of course, we wanted all this to stay because this
Sure.
was historic infrastructure.
Oh, no, of course.
Okay, so looking south, there's the view looking south. And the thing you notice in this view was that there was a boulevard with trees along here, and it's gone. Well, there's trees now, but the boulevard was wider back then. So here we are. And of course, the little Linden Hills Depot. And its later version with a chimney and the little roof and the third pavilion behind it. And then, of course, the chalet station.
You know, when we look at that little awning they had built on the station there, right there,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's an easier thing to try to do than to give us any other kind of shade out there.
Well, you know, I hadn't even thought about that. That's kind of an interesting idea.
The ground falls away pretty severely there.
Yeah.
But if we built a platform like we're looking at, and then built that awning, I don't think that would be a real expensive project.
Interesting idea. Huh.
That faces south, so it's going to get the southern exposure, and it's going to be hard to shade it. Is what I'm trying to say.
Well, it'd still be pretty shady under there. So, huh. Interesting. So looking the other way, and of course, that back then the building, the apartment building, was a store. So here we are looking over the car barn. And this was before 1916, because 1916 is when the retaining wall went in. And here you are with the retaining wall. And this, and then the other way. Looking down the steps. And it's the same house, they just added on to it. As you can see, there were steps on the other side that came down too. And a pretty big retaining wall there as well. Here we are out back. Of course, they raised the alley up considerably. And down in the alley, behind the apartment buildings, and that's where the Lake Harriet Loop was.
That was a turnaround loop, you mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that's where the line ended originally before 1905 when they extended it west. But they kept that loop until the 1930s. And they use it to turn cars around.
And is that where the loop sign came in?
No, the loop sign refers to downtown.
Okay.
Downtown, when they were trying to figure out how to do free transfers, for about a year or two, they made every streetcar go around a loop down at First and Hennepin. First, Hennepin, Marquette, and Washington, and then go into a transfer station and request a transfer from a transfer agent, and then come out and catch the other car. And it was very cumbersome, didn't work, but it established the term loop. And then loop after a while became a synonym for downtown. And that's where loop came from.
Okay.
So
And when cars are signed for loop, what that means is, like on the Como-Harriet line or Oak Xerxes, they would go from somewhere out on the outer end of the line, go through downtown, but then rather than continuing to the other end of the line, they would loop around and go back out and make another run during rush hours.
Right,
So-
they turn around downtown.
And
Well,
it's I was gonna say, and it's the old loop that is right next to the post office, First and High Street, right there, right?
Yeah, that was the
Okay.
loop. But
Okay.
after a while, the term just became a generic synonym for downtown. So
Oh,
if you said
got
this
it.
car is a loop car, it's going downtown, but that's as far as it's going.
Oh, okay, got it.
Oh, 43rd and Upton. Here we go. Eat a plate of ice cream every day.
Good advice.
Sure. And here it is later. That's the toy store.
And this is where you put in those signs last summer, right?
No, that's further west, and you'll see some of those in a
Okay.
little bit. We don't have one this far east. By the way, notice the stop target up above here. Looking down the hill. Thing. And looking west. Back when it was Clark Hardware, then became Buyers Hardware. Now it's the Martina Restaurant. And here's the Harriet Terminal House. This is what Jim was referring to. This is where the conduit came in underground, and it shifted to overhead wire in this building. Okay, now this is where we start to get the signs. So we're behind the St. Thomas School. It's wider here because there was a third track. There was a siding for Lake Harriet cars. And this is one of the signs. And once again, you see the terminal house here. This is actually on that last day trip. You can see they've stopped mowing the grass. And you know it's on the last day trip because there's no ad sign on 1300. So this is out at Xerxes, where it crosses Xerxes. And once again, this is the photo that was used for the sign there. House is still there. Now you're looking up the hill on Xerxes because at 44th and Xerxes, this is where the Oak Harriet line took off. And so here comes a car down the hill. They were doing some track work, so there's a switch. And now you're looking west on the right-of-way at Xerxes. And this is the start for 2 blocks of what they call the trolley path, where they've done nice landscaping and all. And this is what it looked like with the Xerxes Avenue, Oak Harriet going off. This is at York Avenue. Here's the right-of-way going across, which is the trolley path. And this is what it looked like. All the buildings are still intact here. And one thing that you see here that a lot of people don't know is I want to say York, Zenith, and Abbott. There is a railings where the stop was on top of a retaining wall. And I think there you go. These things are all still intact. And those 3 locations. Okay, so here we're at Beard Avenue. This is Turtle Bread right here. And here's the view before. It was Miller's grocery store, and then a tailor shop and a bakery in between.
So essentially where that little park is, right on the other side to the right of Turtle, like that's where the old tracks for the line were?
Right, and that's to the right here of the camera, and I think you'll see that in a picture or two.
Okay.
Yeah, here you are. You're in that, and that was the former right-of-way. And on the back of it is this little 1-block street called Motor Place, named for the motor line. And then here's Turtle Bread right here. And so, of course, the parking lot for Turtle Bread is where the streetcar ran. And this is the same location. It's just kind of telephoto. And then you turn around from the corner of Chowan, looking up the hill, and this is what you used to see before. So they've built this up here and they put some development on it, townhouses and a daycare. And so here's the 44th and France liquor store, and this is where the 44th and France loop was. So here's the loop. And here's another view looking west. This is the old Oddfellows Hall. And that's roughly the same view today. And this, by the way, is the Hopkins shuttle meeting the downtown car. And it actually said on the timetable that this connected with that. And if there was a wood destination sign on the outbound trip, there was one that said connects to Hopkins. And Dave French found one of those on eBay, and we bid on it, but it was just too expensive. But it actually, somebody could get on downtown and see that the car connected to the Hopkins shuttle. And the shuttle ran weekends and weekday middays. And what he had to do was he had to pull forward and then he had to back around the loop to get straightened out and head back to Hopkins. And once again, here's the corner, and I'll cut diagonally through the intersection. And the Linhoff photo was right here. That's now owned by somebody else, by a firm that redoes houses. So here you are looking the other way. Here's 44th and France, and this is what it looked like before. And here you see a car turning off the France Avenue branch line. And the standard service station is the Milius sandwich shop now. We're still using that same building. So anyway, this is a view of it, and I believe this was taken before they opened the France Avenue line, either that or just after. And so here you see the loop, and with a car on it. Yeah, there do seem to be right overhead poles, so maybe it was. So now we're down at
that France Avenue in that picture. Well,
yeah, this is France Avenue going across right here, and then this is Sunnyside Avenue. So we're going to go down France Avenue. We're at 45th, and here's the same location. And then you get down to 50th and France, and here's the same view. And then another angle looking at the other side. And now you're looking east on 50th Street. And the original Y was here. And this 50th Street was Highway 169. Here's the Edina Theater. And this caused a lot of traffic congestion, so they moved the Y in the 1930s down to 51st Street. And now you're down close to 51st Street looking north. And this was Christmas decorations, but this was the same view. And I think this is the end of it.